Welcome back to another episode of the AI Transformation Playbook, where we help organizations become AI ready before they become AI driven. I am Bannavti, Sylvestre, founder of the Enterprise AI Readiness Index. One of the biggest misconceptions about AI is that the future belongs to the smartest algorithms. I am not convinced about that. I believe the future belongs to organizations that know how to combine intelligent technology with exceptional human leadership. Today's guest has dedicated her career to exactly that mission. Stephanie Sylvestre has worked across corporate leadership, entrepreneurship, nonprofit innovation, and now helping organizations embrace technology without losing sight of what makes people extraordinary. Stephanie, welcome to the AI Transformation Playbook podcast.
Thank you for having me today. I appreciate the opportunity to share, and I look forward to our conversation.
All right, Stephanie, your journey fascinates me because you didn't simply become an AI entrepreneur. You spent years leading people before building technology. How has that shaped the way you think about AI differently from many technologists?
Well, I think that most technologists will build technology for the sake of technology. I watched somebody demo this app where they spent about 50 hours so that the AI could do something that takes 10 minutes to do. Uh-huh. And it's not 10 minutes, it's like 10 minutes a day. Why spend 50 hours to create a solution? And so I see a lot of that going on in the AI space and in the tech space. And because I'm a trained social scientist, I'm looking to see what are practical uses of AI. How can it actually move the needle, make a difference, right? And be able to have a small staff do big things. So taking a human being and optimize it, I believe that the human body is complex and strong enough. And if properly optimized, it can do things that we haven't even been able to do, can push the boundaries. So rather than going and trying to build a machine that looks like us and moves like us, why not just take what we already have and optimize it? And that's where I'm living.
Awesome. One thing I appreciate is that your story didn't actually begin with AI. It began with solving human problems. So I found that usually where successful AI transformations begin, not with the technology, with the people.
Exactly. So I did a whole conversation and a whole presentation about AI. And this person said, but you didn't really talk about AI. I said, I did. They're like, all you talked about were people. And I said, that's the thing. It's the AI. Talking about AI, you have to talk about people. If you don't talk about people, then all you're doing is you're talking about a piece of tech that may or may not have impact.
So one topic you've spoken about is the top 5 quintessential human skills. I love that framing because so much of today's conversation is centered around what AI can do. Very little is centered around what humans must become. Can you walk us through those skills?
So when you think about AI, right? So AI will help you do your job faster. Yeah. It will definitely help you do your job faster, especially if you know how to do your job, right? So my CFO talks about it would take her 5-6 hours to write our financial report. Now she gives AI the documents and the AI writes the first draft of the financial report for her. And then she spends an hour going through, cross-referencing, to make sure the AI hasn't made a mistake, to put the right numbers in. And she said, it's so much of a joy, right? To be able to use the AI to help her with her work. So instead of struggling for 6-7 hours, she's getting her work done in an hour and a half. That's the solutions that we're seeing. And that's because we're focused on helping the humans, helping people get their work done faster.
Awesome. So one observation I've made through the AI Readiness Index that I created is this: organizations spend millions developing AI capabilities. You actually said somebody spent 50 hours to build something that needs to work for just a few minutes. So far fewer invest in developing human capabilities, yet one cannot succeed without the other. Would you agree to that?
Wait, say that again?
I was saying that organizations spend millions developing AI capabilities, but they only few invest in developing human capabilities.
Yes.
Yet I think one does not succeed without the other. So we agree?
Absolutely. The headlines now are all these companies that laid off people because of AI are now able to admit, or I shouldn't say able, are now admitting that they made a mistake and they have to rehire these people. And just because it goes to a job is a compilation of tasks, and some tasks are repetitive and sucks the joy out of you. And that's what you give the AI. But then there are tasks that are so nuanced that you automate that task, and the next time around, the environment breaks whatever you automate. So you have to re-automate. So why take the time and do that? Just do it yourself. And it kind of brings me back to when I used to do software testing. What I would do is I would say there are certain scripts that we would write, and we can always run it over and over and over. And there were certain scripts that were so brittle that every time we ran it, we had to rewrite it again. And we were like, just test that manually. This is a manual test that we're going to do. And then the rest of it, you automate. And the world is still like that. And because the world is still like that, you cannot just do AI by itself or human by itself. You can do human by itself, but obviously if you want to optimize and get things done quicker and more accurately, bringing the two together. So we're big on investing not in just AI, but in human resources. And I'd say human capital. I believe that humans are just as important, if not more important, in the entire work stream of a business. So what we're doing, everybody's saying there's no jobs for young people, and we're going the other direction. And we're bringing the young people on. We're doing internship this summer. We have 16 interns that are working with us. And from those 16 interns, we're not only giving them real world problems to solve. What they build, we're going to incorporate into our production solution that we sell. But we're also taking the time to coach and mentor them and answer their questions and teach them how to work in ambiguity, teach them how to work remotely, how to not stop when there's a problem. Today's theme of the check-in was embrace the suck and the failures. You want to fail. If you're doing something and you're not failing, then you're not really maximizing your potential. It's true failure that we learn. So those are the kinds of stuff that we do with our interns, because we want to develop the human as well as we want to develop the AI.
I like that. So going to demystifying AI. So let's simplify AI for our audience. So executive hear terms like LLMs, SLM, AI agents, and autonomous AI. Many simply nod their heads. Can you help us understand the differences without the technical jargon?
So LLM is large language model.
Okay.
Think about it as each of these companies went and tried to pull as much free data as they could get their hands on. Some were maybe not as free as others, but we won't get into that.
Yeah.
And then we configured the AI to work the way our human brain works, as much as we know how the human brain works. And the human brain by definition is lazy. So the AI is also lazy. And what the AI does is it goes to the path of least resistance. So it goes and it says, oh, I have 1.9 petabytes or whatever the biggest bytes of data measurements are. And AI is like, I'm not going to go through all of that. So I'm going to guess. And sometimes the guess correct and sometimes the guess wrong. And that's a hallucination. And so to make it stop do that, you have to create a small language model, which is just a subset of the data. And most of that data is related on one or two data points, right? So it's related because it's data about your company, even though, or it might be related because it's about sales, or it might be related because it's about world history from in the 1900s, whatever it is, right? And because it's smaller, the AI can go through all of it. And the analogy that I leave people with is when you go to school and your teacher says 11 books to read, most of us will not read those 11 books. We'll read a subset and then guess. And that's what the AI does when it hallucinates. But some professors will say 4 books to read. We'll read the 4 books. That's a small language model. doesn't hallucinate as much. You might still be like, I'm not going to read all 4 books, but you read 3.75 of the books. So you have a good understanding of the content and you might still guess wrong, but very low probability that you're going to guess wrong. That's what. And then AI agents are just the prompt that you give the AI to behave a certain way. So when you think about a prompt, there's 2 pieces to it. There's a system prompt that says to the AI, you want to take on this role, you want to do these activities, and I'll put it in this way. And then the user says to the AI agent, hey, do this. And the AI agent looks at the system prompt and then goes and does it. If you go to a restaurant, right, and you take an order, right, so the kitchen already knows all the ingredients, how to make whatever dish is on the menu, and then you order the dish, you might say, well, I put the sauce on the side or leave off the potatoes, and then the kitchen will know how to make your dish customized to you, and that's what the prompts are. And then agentic AI and autonomous AI. I think that unless you're a developer and you understand software development lifecycle and you are one with 90% of the IT acronyms, you should not be using autonomous AI agents because those are very dangerous. It's like giving a 15-year-old unsupervised access to your bank account. Nobody does that.
Awesome. That is exactly following what you explained. I think that's why AI literacy matters. Leaders don't need to become engineers. They need enough understanding to ask better strategic questions. So let's move now to responsible AI and human oversight, which is another topic where our work overlaps. So you focus heavily on human oversight. My work focuses on organizational AI readiness. I actually think these 2 ideas are inseparable. How do you define responsible AI?
It's a very interesting thing, right? Because I feel like it's contextual.
Yeah.
I really think it's contextual. So responsible AI is AI that's designed not to intentionally destroy and brings positive value. So a responsible AI example would be an AI that is configured in a way so you don't even need to provide username and password. So because the moment you start collecting that, you could potentially have a problem. Or responsible AI that will not say terrible things to the users, no matter how much the user tries to get it to do that. Responsible AI is also going to be able to tell the user no. So we like to think the human nature thing that when somebody tells us no, that they're being mean to us. But sometimes somebody telling us no is being kind to us. Because if you do if you get a go ahead, it might end up badly.
So one thing I often tell executives in most of my meetings is that AI doesn't eliminate accountability. It actually raises the standard for leadership accountability. Will you agree to that?
Absolutely. I was talking to somebody and they were like, we should regulate AI. And I was like, tell me what you should regulate in AI. And then they started telling me these things. And there are laws on the books already. You should regulate AI so that if it plagiarizes, there's already laws on the books for plagiarism. And as far as I'm concerned, whoever is using the AI to plagiarize is the one you hold accountable. If whoever used for defamation, we already have laws on the book for defamation. No. If I go to the AI and tell the AI to create an inappropriate image of you, and then I post it on the internet, I am responsible. It's me. We already have. But then I say, what about regulating who can create AIs? They're like, what? I was like, AI agents are very dangerous. You can create an AI agent to do some really bad things, and you can push that out to the world. It could be really bad. So that's what we should be regulating. But I don't hear anybody talking about regulating that. And the reason why is because these companies don't want you to do that because they know that most people would not be able to pass the regulation tests. Some of their own employees wouldn't be able to pass the tests to say who should regulate to create AI agents. So that's where I would say I would live, is you should be having people to be able to regulate who can create the AI agents, just like how we regulate who can be a doctor, right? I can't just go on the YouTube, look at a video for how to take out your appendix and then Say, come on, Eric, let me take your appendix out.
Now, talking about regulation, let's go now to AI for social good. So one of my favorite parts of your story is how you're preserving Black history using AI. I love that so much when I saw that. So most headlines focus on AI replacing jobs, but you are showing AI preserving culture. Can you tell us more about that?
So there's a few ways that I'm doing that. One is I'm working with the Ministry of Education in Belize to preserve Belizean history by creating 501 Historian that gives you more information about Belize than you would get on the internet. And that's because they've collected this information from local Belizeans that has built this archive. But then we also have that we've taught the AI how to speak Creole and Yucatec Mayan, and we're looking to teach it some other languages. That's one way. Then the other way is we partnered with this company called My Own Voice. And My Own Voice has a virtual community of digital twins. And the idea is we take your personality and we digitize it. We take your life history and we give it to the AI. And then whatever content area information we give as well. And then because of that, we're able to now preserve your legacy. And the idea is when we get to you go to the virtual community and you would see so many different Black and brown people and allies who can serve as mentors and coach for people that need help and insight. I had a conversation with this young lady. She's uber smart. She's lots of ambition. She has agency, but there's just the little nuanced things that makes you successful. And so I'm talking to her and I was like, she knows the questions to ask, but she doesn't have anybody to answer them for her. And this is where that would help.
Awesome. Maybe I should reach out to you so I can put my language LAMSA to AI so we can play around with it. And that's very important. And it really demonstrates something important, that technology itself isn't inherently good or bad. Leadership determines the impact of technology.
Exactly.
So many executives ask me questions like, what jobs will AI replace? And to me, I always think the better question to ask is, what kind of leaders will AI require? What's your perspective on that?
So just to be very judgmental, people that are asking what jobs AI can replace are asking the wrong question. And that's going to they're going to be the ones left behind.
Yeah.
What the question should be, how can I optimize my team members so that I can maximize my AI investment? That's the question that should be asked.
I like that. So I'd like to explore something here. So some people argue that AI will eventually outperform humans in nearly everything. I take a different view. Like AI might outperform us at prediction, but purpose, ethics, empathy, judgment, those will remain distinctly human. How do you see it balancing, that balance evolving?
Calculators help us add lots of numbers faster, right? Mm-hmm. And AI can do multiple calculations at once. AI can process maybe about 15 data points all at once. The smartest human being can process maybe 7 data points, if you're really smart. Mm-hmm. Average person gets overwhelmed after 3 data points. So from that perspective, if an AI can process 5x the data that an average human can process, it looks like it's smarter, but smartness is not just about these one little things, right? It's a whole compilation of, and what we've done is with AI, we're trying to reduce things into one binary ones and zeros. Mm-hmm. But it doesn't work that way because society doesn't work that way. I can be uber smart in Miami and I could go to, which city are you in?
Dallas.
I could go to Dallas and I could completely fail. Why? Because the rules in Dallas are different. The norms are different. So being smart is less about book smart. Can I calculate 10 7-digit numbers in my head? Yes, that's great. But to what end? What do I care about that, right? So that's the thing. I think that when people think about AI workplaces, I think the AI does some things. The AI does some cool things where I'm like, how did it figure out how to do all of this, right? But then the other aspects, not so cool. And so what will happen is, just like what happened with the calculator, we didn't have to sit there with a pen and a paper and struggle through adding stuff. And as the numbers got bigger, make more mistakes. That's what the AI is going to help us do. Process data, vast amounts of data points quicker. And then we still have to ultimately do the final analysis.
So imagine every CEO listening today, they have invested in AI, they are excited. There's also uncertainty. So what's the very first thing they should do tomorrow morning?
Make sure that they understand why they want to use AI. Why do you want to use AI?
Absolutely.
And then once you understand why you want to use AI, do you have the data for the AI to use? Because without data, AI doesn't work.
Awesome.
If they can answer the questions, they're about 90% of the way there.
I like that. And also, I'll add one more recommendation. Before asking, how do we implement AI? Maybe they should ask, are our leaders and workforce prepared to work alongside AI?
Yeah.
Because I think that English shift will change everything.
Exactly. So the initiative should be, the deployment should include people from all ranks of the organization. Because if you don't include people from all ranks of the organization, what you end up with is a solution that doesn't work.
So let's finish with a few quick questions, maybe answer just one sentence if possible. What do you think is the biggest misconception about AI?
That it will replace all jobs.
What's the most underrated human skill?
What's the most resourcefulness and creativity?
Yeah, I love the creativity. Also, what leadership quality is becoming more valuable with all these AI conversations?
Ability to learn, unlearn, and relearn.
Ooh, I love that. So what's the best AI tool every executive should explore?
Avatar Buddy.
I like that.
If you don't want to use Avatar Buddy, you can always use Notebook LM is my recommendation for people that can't afford Avatar Buddy or don't want to pay for Avatar Buddy. Notebook LM is the other option.
I'll check that out after this. So what's one book every leader should read?
I think 5 Minute Manager. I was just talking to somebody. It's a school book, and all the other books have variations of it, but it's about leadership by delegating and supporting your team, but not doing the work for them. So you can bring your monkeys to me. I will play with your monkeys. I will caress your monkeys. When you leave, you get to take the monkeys with you. Most people drop off their monkeys at their leader's desk, and then their leaders are overwhelmed with all these monkeys. That's not my monkey. I have my own.
So what's the most exciting AI opportunity? That's according to you.
I think the most exciting AI opportunity is the fact that I'm getting closer and closer to creating a personality chip.
Oh.
And we have some interns. That's what they're researching this summer. And the stuff that they're telling me, the check-ins, I was like, oh man, yes, that's where we want to go, right? And so the concept of a personality chip is, what if you could have something to help regulate your, right? So we live in our equilibrium. So let's say this is our equilibrium, right? Then we get good news and we go up here and we're super excited. And the AI has to be like, hey, Eric, you good? And help bring you back down, because as long as you're up here, you can no longer think, you can't function. People are talking to you, you're not registering what they're saying. When is the last time you had something great happen to you and then somebody is talking to you and you're not registering? So you have to want the chip to be able to monitor your biometrics. And the moment you get out of equilibrium, it just says, hey, are you good? That helps redirect you. And once you're redirected, you can decide if you want to stay up here or you want to come back here. And it's the same thing, right? You get some bad news. Things aren't working out the way you are. You have to go down here. Do you want to stay there or do you want to come back to equilibrium? So, because when we're at equilibrium, we're at our best. We don't need as much help.
So what's one thing AI will never replace?
Visionary. AI needs something to anchor itself on. We don't need anything to anchor ourselves on.
Absolutely. All right. So every guest I receive always gets this same closing question. So the Enterprise AI Readiness Index evaluates 6 organizational pillars: executive leadership, AI governance, workforce readiness, data and technology, risk and security, then AI strategy. If you could add a 7th pillar, what would it be and why?
You covered all of my stuff, man. You covered all. That's what I advocate for. Awareness of outcomes. What outcomes do you want? Your AI outcomes, right? And I do like the logic model. Outcomes, activities, input. So why do you want to do AI? And how do you know that it's successful?
All right, Stephanie. So imagine every CEO, founder, educator, nonprofit leader, and student are listening to us right now. What's that one message you hope they remember after today's conversation?
You should be embracing AI in a responsible way. You cannot ban it or put in artificial constraints. Does not work. Just look at Australia. They banned people under 16 having smartphones, and 7 months into it, experiment, you're no better off.
All right, Stephanie. So thank you for joining us today. What stood out most wasn't simply our discussion about AI. It was our discussion about people and the focus on people. I love that. Because while AI continues to evolve at extraordinary speed, the organizations that thrive won't necessarily be those with the most advanced technology. They'll be the ones that cultivate resilient leaders, curious employees, ethical decision making, and culture where human potential grows alongside the AI itself. So that's exactly why we created the AI Readiness Index, to help organizations measure strength and strengthen their capabilities that technology alone cannot provide. So before we wrap, where can our audience connect with you, learn more about Avatar Body, and follow your work?
You can connect with me on LinkedIn, Stephanie Sylvestre, TRE, Avatar Buddy. And Dan, if you mention that you heard us on this podcast, we will happily give you a half an hour complimentary consult.
Awesome. I like that. Thank you very much. So if you enjoyed today's conversation, subscribe to the AI Transformation Playbook podcast, share this episode with another executive or leader, and continue the conversation. Remember, the future doesn't belong to organizations with the most AI. It belongs to organizations that know how to combine AI with the best of human intelligence.
Thank you.
Gloria.